Hello everyone, welcome to this session on implementing progressive profiling with R0. I am Pranay from ENH iSecure. In this session, we will explore how to enhance user identity management by gradually collecting profile data securely and efficiently. Let's begin with the agenda. Here is what we will cover in this session. First, we will introduce the concept of progressive profiling and why it matters in modern identity management. Next, we will dive into how progressive profiling works, followed by a use case overview to illustrate its implementation. We will then walk through the progressive profiling flow step by step, and finally, highlight the key benefits this approach brings to both users and organizations. Let's get started. Let's start with what progressive profiling actually is. In simple terms, it's a strategy where you collect user data incrementally over time instead of asking for everything during the initial registration process. Instead of bombarding users with long forms when they first sign up, we ask for just the bare minimum to create the account, like email and password. Once they signed in and started using the app, we can then ask for additional details like first name, last name, etc. This progressive collection model is particularly effective when implemented using dynamic forms that trigger based on what's already known and what's still missing in the user profile. Progressive profiling works by breaking down the data collection process into smaller steps. Initially, you might only ask for basic information like a name and email address during sign-up. As the user interacts more with your website, app, or content, you can strategically ask for additional, more specific details through dynamic forms. The information collected is stored and used to personalize the user's experience in future. Let's take a look at a use case. An organization implementing progressive profiling using R0. This flow outlines the 5 key steps in the process. First is form creation. This includes designing dynamic forms to collect user data progressively. Next, we'll create flow creation. This is for building the logic that determines when and how additional data is required. Next is creating M2M application with required scopes. It allows users for setting up a machine-to-machine application with the necessary scopes for secure data access. Next, connection to the M2M application. Now we create a vault connection to the M2M application for secure interaction between forms and user metadata in R0 user store. Then finally, we will create post-login actions. These actions are designed to trigger the forms and contain custom logic that defines forms behavior. This workflow illustrates how progressive profiling operates within Auth0. As shown in the diagram, we have 4 key components: user, Auth0 authorization server, actions, and the dynamic forms. Let us say on the first login, the user accesses the application. The Auth0 authorization server prompts for credentials, and upon entering valid credentials, the user is seamlessly logged in, ensuring a frictionless experience. Now let's consider a later login, say the nth login, where we have implemented logic to request additional user details. The user enters valid credentials, and this time the action flow is triggered. It checks the user's metadata for any missing information. Then the user is redirected to a form requesting the missing details. Once the user provides the required information, the form makes an API call to update the user's metadata in Auth0. After the update, the user is successfully logged into the application. So, why should we implement progressive profiling? One of the main reasons is to reduce form abandonment. Long sign-up forms often cause frustration and lead users to drop off before completing the process. Second, it helps enhance the user experience by asking for data at the right moment when it makes sense for the user. We create a smoother journey. Third, it improves data accuracy. Since users are more engaged post-login, they are more likely to provide valid and meaningful information. All of this leads to better conversion rates, cleaner data, and a more personalized application experience. Well, that brings us to the end of our session on progressive profiling with Zero. We have explored the concept, understood its working, and highlighted the key benefits it offers. I hope this walkthrough has been insightful and has helped clarify how progressive profiling can enhance identity management. Thank you very much for following along.